Compared to other action movies of its era, why did Predator feel so horrifyingly real? Just now, Arnold Schwarzenegger disclosed the startling secret that underlies the film's extreme realism. Fans weren't prepared for it either. His behind-the-scenes knowledge gives the classic a completely another viewpoint. Get ready for astonishing discoveries that could permanently alter your perspective on Predator. This goes beyond simple movie trivia. For those who enjoy action movies, it's revolutionary. Everyone was shocked by the sudden return. In 2025, 78-year-old Arnold Schwarzenegger unexpectedly returned to the Predator franchise after over 40 years away. Additionally, this comeback has revealed a wealth of behind-the-scenes information that the majority of fans were unaware of. Directors Dan Trachtenberg and Arnold recently had breakfast together, and what they came up with shocked the film industry. In a Predator animated epilogue, the renowned action hero has made his formal comeback as Dutch Schaefer. His first appearance in the franchise since 1987 was as a killer of killers. However, that is only the start of this amazing tale. It's amazing how many recollections and insights regarding the original movie have surfaced since Arnold's comeback. Arnold has been unusually open about things that happened during production in recent interviews and conversations surrounding his comeback, things that studio officials likely preferred had remained hidden in the jungle. There is no better time than now. The Austrian oak has been feeling sentimental and unusually outspoken about the film that helped solidify his reputation as an action legend, especially because Predator Badlands is scheduled to be released in theaters in November 2025 and Arnold may make more live-action cameos. However, Arnold's recent revelations go far beyond the usual Hollywood war narratives. You want to see the film again right away with new eyes because of these kinds of surprises. We're discussing unspoken meanings, production calamities, and artistic choices that influenced the history of film. The scene with the scorpion that altered everything. Let's discuss the scorpion scene, which is one of Predator's most underappreciated scenes. You know the one when Dutch comes across a scorpion while scuttling through the forest. It's likely that most fans assumed it was just another jungle hurdle. However, Arnold just verified what movie critics have been guessing for years. In actuality, this sequence is a masterful narrative that exposes the Predator's actual character. The Predator itself, a species that murders without hesitation, is symbolized by the scorpion. The Predator doesn't hunt because it is a villain in the conventional sense, just as a scorpion doesn't sting because it is wicked. In recent conversations, Arnold has brought up the director John McTiernan's obsession with these symbolic moments. McTiernan used the scene with the scorpion to demonstrate how the Predator makes sure that every death is quick and comparatively painless. The prey is not being tortured. With its own perverted code of honor, it is hunting. This discovery fundamentally alters our perspective on the film as a whole. The Predator is a warrior who hunts according to long-standing customs. Every exchange between Dutch and the Predator has a new meaning when you rewatch the movie with this understanding. Additionally, Arnold disclosed that this sequence was filmed under some of the most harsh circumstances possible. There were actual scorpions, spiders, and other hazardous animals scuttling around in the Mexican forest. Throughout the filming process, Arnold himself came into contact with multiple genuine scorpions, and the team had to continuously inspect their equipment for deadly surprises. The fact that this scene nearly didn't make the final edit is even more intriguing. Although McTiernan pushed to keep it in, several studio officials felt it dragged down the rhythm. I'm glad he did, because it's now regarded as one of the action movie's most conceptually complex scenes. The secret of smoking cigars that made Dutch unique. You're going to be amazed by this. On the set of Predator, Arnold smoked cigars non-stop, and not only because he liked them. Recent behind-the-scenes disclosures indicate that the smokes played a crucial role in Dutch's character development. You can see Arnold Schwarzenegger working hard in between takes in The Unseen, a behind-the-scenes documentary from the Predator Special Edition Blu-ray. The majority of fans are unaware, however, that this behavior had an impact on some of the film's most famous scenes. In fact, the cigar smoke helped him get into character, Arnold disclosed. This cool-headed leader who could remain composed under duress was just what Dutch needed. Arnold was able to channel that thinking through the routine of smoking cigars, which was its most surprising way. This is where things start to get interesting, though. On set, the cigars also had a useful function. There were a lot of mosquitoes and other insects in the bush where they were filming. The smoke from the cigars served as a natural deterrent, preventing the insects from getting close to Arnold's face in close-ups. Other facets of Dutch's personality also benefited from this attention to detail. To produce an authentic look, Arnold collaborated closely with the costume department. From his tactical vest to his weapon selections, every item of Dutch's equipment served a specific function. Nothing was done at random. Arnold's attitude to the well-known mud scene was also impacted by his cigar habit. He was aware that Dutch needed to be resourceful and composed enough to consider camouflage with dirt. He was able to access that strategic attitude through the cigar smoking sessions. The way that this minor detail influenced Arnold's subsequent action parts is remarkable. Dutch's cool-headed, calculated style is seen in figures such as John Matrix from Commando and the Terminator. The mandible mystery that started a series, Arnold's action hero reputation, was literally shaped by those smokes. The majority of fans are unaware that James Cameron virtually entirely designed the most recognizable aspect of the Predator. Arnold recently told the tale of how Cameron's innocuous remark on a plane flight turned into one of the most iconic alien designs in movie history. Imagine this. While flying together, Cameron and special effects expert Stan Winston start generating concepts for the Predator's look. "You know, I always wanted to see something with mandibles," Cameron adds, turning to Winston. Science fiction is still impacted by the design revolution that was started by that one sentence. Arnold said he felt they had something unique when he first saw the Predator design with those characteristic mandible jaws. The mandibles had several functions and were aesthetically pleasing. They produced the distinctive clicking sound that became the Predator's hallmark and distinctive speech patterns. This gave the creature a strange, primordial quality. This is when things get wild. The mandibles had a nearly entirely different appearance. Different jaw configurations were depicted in early concept art, ranging from intricate bone structures to more insect-like shapes. The finished design achieved the ideal ratio of useful to intimidating. Additionally, Arnold revealed how the actors' performances were impacted by his mandibles. The human characters' reactions to the Predator's complex mouth anatomy were impacted by their knowledge of it. Every display of disgust and terror was influenced by their awareness of what they were purportedly witnessing. During filming, the mandibles also presented unforeseen difficulties. Kevin Peter Hall, who played Predator, had to learn how to speak and emote using this complex facial prosthetic. It's similar to acting out Shakespeare in a complicated mask. The impact those mandibles had on later science fiction properties is truly astounding. Their DNA may be seen in alien designs in scores of computer games, TV series, and films. James Cameron's innocuous remark literally influenced our perception of extraterrestrial predators. The movie was saved by the firing. However, Arnold recently confirmed this secret. The first Predator was nearly a total failure. And the film had to be saved by sacking a big actor. We're referring to Jean-Claude Van Damme, who was first portrayed as the actual Predator. There was only one issue with Van Damme's hiring to mimic the alien hunter's bodily actions. His pride overshadowed his ability to perform the intricate costume. Arnold disclosed that Van Damme was generally challenging to work with, incessantly grumbling about the suit and requesting alterations. Van Damme's insistence that the Predator should be more of a martial arts combatant, kicking and hopping around like a ninja, was the tipping point. What was frightening about the beast was entirely lost on him. The Predator should not be ostentatious. It is thought to be calculating, methodical, and completely alien. Arnold said that Van Damme's actions were frustrating the entire cast. They were right here. Enduring harsh rainforest circumstances, intense heat, and potentially harmful creatures. Van Damme was also having tantrums because his attire did not demonstrate his martial arts prowess. Van Damme was fired, and Kevin was chosen to take his position. Peter Hall changed everything. Hall's energy in the part was quite different. He possessed the commanding physical presence required for the role, at 7 feet 2 inches tall. More significantly, he realized that the Predator's strength came not from impressive fighting skills but rather from his mystique and alienness. Arnold disclosed that Hall's treatment of the character affected the way each of the real actors carried out their parts. Their movements through the jungle, their line delivery, and their response to the predator's presence all changed when they realized they were up against this tall, methodical hunter. The film was actually rescued by this casting shift. What if Van Damme had remained and transformed the Predator into a space ninja? The franchise as a whole would have been entirely different and most likely far less successful. Nuclear disclosure that was unexpected. Most fans were totally unaware of Arnold's latest surprise regarding the Predator's self-destruct scene. Do you recall the famous sequence in which the Predator triggers its nuclear self-destruct mechanism? Well, even ardent admirers haven't discovered the hidden layer of meaning. Arnold claims that the sequence where the Predator destroys itself is not just about the Predator being a bitter loser, rather, it is the creature's farewell gesture of respect for Dutch. The nuclear explosion is intended to give Dutch an honorable death beside a fellow warrior because the Predator acknowledges that Dutch has proven himself to be a worthy enemy. Your perspective on the film's last act is entirely altered by this interpretation. He is being offered the death of a warrior by the Predator. The greatest honor in the creature's culture is to die in a valiant combat. For two revered warriors, the self-destruct gadget is essentially a funeral pyre. Arnold disclosed that his portrayal of Dutch's response to the countdown was impacted by this idea. When the Predator offered to kill a warrior, Dutch was fleeing an explosion. His decision to prioritize survival over honor is highly human and contrasts sharply with the Predator's moral code. Additionally, the rescue aircraft that ultimately saves Dutch acquires new significance. One of the helicopter crew members was portrayed by Kevin Peter Hall, the same actor who portrayed the Predator. Thus, in a strange manner, the Predator symbolizes the dichotomy of warrior culture by simultaneously attempting to kill Dutch and saving him. What may have been just another action movie explosion gains philosophical significance with this nuclear revelation. The kind of nuanced narrative that sets Predator apart from other action movies from the 1980s. Even more intriguing is how this idea impacted the franchise's subsequent movies. With humans and predators occasionally cooperating against shared foes, the concept of honor among fighters emerged as a recurrent theme. Stunt challenges and brutal jungle filming. Arnold recently exposed the brutality of Predator's production, comparing it to surviving a genuine military mission rather than a film shoot. The cast and crew experienced over 100 degrees of heat, oppressive humidity, poisonous snakes, swarms of insects, and ongoing threats of tropical disease while filming in the heart of the Mexican forest. Everyone was on anti-malarial medication to stay alive, and several members were admitted to the hospital. The anguish, weariness, and discomfort you witness on television weren't merely actors. They were authentic. The cast was strained by the circumstances. Dysentery was a problem for Jesse Ventura. Carl Weathers suffered from excruciating jungle rot. Arnold also battled against considerable exhaustion, while continuing to work out every day to keep Dutch's body in shape. The crew frequently had to shoot in a hurry before the weather closed them down because makeup melted in the heat and needed to be reapplied frequently. Arnold also disclosed startling information regarding the physical demands and exploits, many of which are now prohibited. He risked raging rivers and executed risky falls with minimal safety equipment, and put up with hours of applying mud for the scenes of camouflage. Arnold's weariness throughout the delivery line was captured on camera as he ran through tough jungle terrain with heavy equipment, even at the well-known "get to the chopper" moment. Predator's unadulterated authenticity was derived from a combination of harsh circumstances, risky actions, and constant physical strain. Arnold thinks Dutch was influenced by this sorrow into one of his most convincing parts. And since it redefined the boundaries of what actors and crews were prepared to do in the name of realism, the shoot itself went on to become famous in Hollywood. Everything nearly fell apart because of the red rubber chicken. This is a story that Arnold probably didn't laugh at when it was being made, but he likes to tell it today. The crew dubbed the original Predator the red rubber chicken because of how awful its design was. And it nearly ruined the whole film. The beast had a totally different appearance prior to the well-known and beloved Predator design. This strange, almost humorous extraterrestrial, which appeared more like a cheap Halloween costume than a fearsome hunter, was captured in early test footage. Arnold said that the entire cast was concerned they were producing a B-movie calamity when they initially saw this concept. Several effects artists worked on the initial concept, and it has significant technical issues. The actor's vision was impaired by the bulky outfit, and the whole look was more goofy than frightful. With such an absurd-looking creature, Arnold said that he was rather worried about whether the film would be taken seriously. It was costly and dangerous to decide to abandon the original concept and start afresh. When they discovered the creature wasn't functioning, they were already well into manufacturing. Some sought to get by with what they had, while studio executives were terrified of budget overruns. Fortunately, Stan Winston took over and produced the modern masterpiece. They basically had to reshoot a lot of the Predator scenes since the transition was so dramatic, Arnold disclosed. This significant mid-production revamp is actually what you see in the finished film. In Hollywood, the red rubber chicken incident became a warning story regarding the significance of designing the monster correctly from the start. Arnold stated that his subsequent involvement in creature design for other projects was influenced by this experience. It's fascinating to note how this near calamity enhanced the finished result. Stan Winston and his crew had learned from the mistakes of the first attempt because they had to start again with the Predator design. In actuality, this creative dilemma produced the iconic design that we adore today. Before the internet even existed, the handshake that broke it. The famous handshake between Arnold and Carl Weathers is among the most iconic scenes in Predator. However, decades later, fans are still discussing this iconic moment, and Arnold recently shared the amazing story behind it. The handshake moment wasn't supposed to be as dramatic as it ended up being. The plan was for Arnold and Carl Weathers to greet each other as if they were old military friends. However, it developed into something far more potent when both actors contributed their own competitive energy to the situation. Arnold disclosed that in order to be ready for that moment, he and Weathers actually did a lot of exercise together. They aimed to make their characters appear to be authentic military personnel who had maintained optimal physical health. Two alpha warriors used the handshake as a means of expressing their respect for one another. The way that one handshake affected the culture of action films for decades following is remarkable. Arnold acknowledged that they were unaware at the time of the moment's potential for iconic status. Innumerable films and television programs have made fun of, mentioned, and paid tribute to it. You might be surprised to learn how complicated the technical components of recording the handshake were. The angles of the camera. To capture the intensity of the moment, timing and lighting had to be flawless. Arnold disclosed that in order to achieve the ideal grip strength and facial expressions, they actually performed several takes. The standard for how action heroes should meet one another on screen was also set by this handshake. It's about fighters' mutual respect, strength, and tacit understanding. Action films from the 1980s and later demonstrate its influence. According to Arnold, fans continue to ask him for the Predator handshake, and he is always pleased to comply. Like "I'll be back and get to the chopper," it has become one of his hallmark moments. What makes Predator unique is summed up in the handshake scene. The extraterrestrial monster isn't the only issue. It's about the ties that are established between fighters who face insurmountable obstacles, human courage, and brotherhood. The unspoken ties that bind Arnold's whole career to Predator. Most fans have never thought of the intriguing parallels Arnold lately made between Predator and his other well-known roles. And their purposeful artistic decisions that demonstrate how Arnold's whole style of action filmmaking was impacted by Predator. Arnold's approach to the Terminator persona was directly impacted by the strategic thinking displayed by the Dutch in Predator. Both characters are meticulous, analytical, and able to modify their strategies in response to the flaws of their opponents. Arnold disclosed that he purposefully applied the knowledge he gained from playing Dutch to his portrayal of the robotic killer. Predator's survivalist themes can also be found in Arnold's other movies, such as Commando and Raw Deal. During the Predator filming, Arnold discovered how to effectively portray a guy who isn't merely an unbeatable superhero but is actually fighting against overwhelming circumstances. It's fascinating to see how Arnold's experience with Predator affected his method of dealing with ensemble casts. As a member of a team, and Arnold mastered the skill of leadership without taking over every scene. This balanced approach is seen in movies such as the Expendables series. Arnold also disclosed that his approach to portraying characters who struggle with supernatural or sci-fi threats was informed by the psychological aspects of confronting an alien hunter. Arnold's character's responses to truly lethal opponents were modeled in Dutch's reverence and dread of the Predator. Predator's military realism and tactical equipment established a benchmark that Arnold upheld throughout his action career. He gained notoriety for demanding that his movies feature realistic weaponry handling and real military consultation. The Predator experience even helped Arnold in his subsequent comedy appearances. His performances in movies like Kindergarten Cop and Twins benefited from the timing and physicality he honed while working in the jungle. Predator's global success also gave Arnold access to opportunities that had not been available to him in his earlier flicks. It demonstrated his ability to deliver a movie that resonated with viewers around the world, which was essential for his subsequent successful career. The secret of sound design that made an icon. Most fans were unaware of the Predator's distinctive clicking sound until Arnold recently revealed some amazing facts about it. In reality, it took months to establish this meticulously designed acoustic signature, which included some rather inventive tactics. Sound designer Alan Robert Murray used a variety of odd sources to produce the clicking sound that we now know as the Predator's speech. According to Arnold, the team tested with everything from human mouth clicks processed through different filters to altered recordings of castanets and lobster shells clicking together. The fact that Arnold collaborated extensively with the sound crew to comprehend how these aural cues would impact his performance only serves to heighten the intrigue. Dutch's response to hearing these sounds in the bush was impacted by his knowledge that the Predator used clicks and electrical sounds for communication. In order to aid the actors realize when the Predator was supposed to be speaking, Arnold revealed that temporary clicking sounds were deployed on the set during production. Although the final sound design would be applied in post-production, this helped make the human characters' reactions more realistic. The sound effects for thermal vision were just as inventive. Synthesizers weren't used to provide the characteristic electronic humming you hear throughout the Predator's heat vision sequences. The unearthly sonic characteristic was really produced by manipulating recorded electromagnetic interference from several technological gadgets. In order to create an immersive audio scene, Arnold explained, the sound design team spent weeks in the jungle recording real ambient noises that would be stacked beneath the Predators. Each insect chirp, wind ruffle, and water drip was meticulously recorded. What's particularly brilliant is that as the Predator feels more excited or threatened, its sounds get faster and more aggressive. According to Arnold, the purpose of this auditory progression was to mimic the natural behavior of predatory creatures. Depending on how they are feeling, their vocalizations alter. The impact this sound design had on the entire franchise is astounding. These initial clicking patterns have been employed in all subsequent Predator films, establishing a decades-long, unified audio identity. Due to his recent return to the brand, Arnold was able to hear new audio technology combined with updated renditions of these iconic sounds. Arnold acknowledges that when fans encounter him on the street, they frequently mimic the Predator's clicking noises because it has become so famous. Great sound design can be just as memorable as visual effects, as evidenced by the fact that it has become as identifiable as any of his well-known movie quotations. The marathon of makeup and deleted scenes. Recently, Arnold Schwarzenegger disclosed that the original version of Predator had a number of cutscenes that would have drastically changed the film's scale and depth. Dutch's character was given extra weight in these scenes, which paralleled the Predator's own hunting history and explored his tortured background through nightmare flashbacks of failed military missions. Ancient weaponry, bone remains, and dog tags from missing soldiers were among the other chopped materials that demonstrated the creature's centuries-long presence on Earth and alluded to a terrifying history of organized hunts that targeted elite fighters. There were more cuts to come. Extended images showed the beast observing the squad from a distance, while a subplot revealed Predator technology interfering with Dutch's attempts to call for extraction, identifying their strategies and vulnerabilities before attacking. In order to provide Dutch with additional chances to exhibit leadership and strategy, his connection with Anna, the captive guerrilla fighter, was also intended to be developed. In the end, these scenes were cut to speed up the narrative while simultaneously removing layers of backstory and character development. Beyond plot points, Arnold revealed astounding information about the demanding prosthetics and makeup work that almost caused production to halt. Because of the heat, humidity, and persistent mosquitoes in the jungle, daily makeup procedures became endurance tests. For the camouflage phase, Arnold spent hours covered in a specially made mud concoction. Kevin Peter Hall, who played the Predator, showed a great deal of dedication to the part by enduring up to 8-hour prosthetic sessions that restricted his eyesight and respiration. The cosmetics team's commitment was equally remarkable. In addition to developing methods for thermal vision effects that called for specific pigments and materials, they worked non-stop in the hostile jungle environment and frequently missed entire workdays due to unexpected downpours. In addition to creating Predator's iconic appearance, these developments advanced the motion picture business and had a long-lasting impact on prosthetics and makeup design. When taken as a whole, the cutscenes and innovative effects show how Predator was much more than just an action film. The production was violent but revolutionary, redefining its genre. Arnold never forgot the weapon workshop. A level of military authenticity that most fans were unaware of was revealed by Arnold's recent amazing anecdotes about the weapons training and planning that went into Predator. Arnold's approach to action parts for the remainder of his career was altered by this valid military instruction. Before filming started, the entire ensemble underwent a rigorous firearms training with the help of actual military consultants that the company recruited. According to Arnold, they studied the correct handling methods for all of the weapons in the film for weeks, including survival knives, assault rifles, and explosives. The fact that Arnold insisted on learning how to handle the weapons as well as how to load, maintain, and troubleshoot them under pressure is remarkable. Arnold understood that accurate weapon handling was essential to selling the role, and Dutch needed to feel like a real military operator. Blaine's well-known M134 minigun was a fully functional weapon that needed specialized training to use safely. In order to grip the rifle realistically during action scenes, Jesse Ventura, who plays Blaine, had to develop a lot of upper body strength, according to Arnold. Arnold disclosed that they used their guns to rehearse military maneuvers and tactics, gaining knowledge about how actual special operations troops would navigate through jungles. Both individual performances and the team's overall collaboration during fighting sequences were impacted by this training. Military combat instructors have to provide specialized training for the knife work. Arnold acquired real knife combat skills that were safe to use while filming and would appear realistic on camera. The well-known incident in which Dutch craftsmen used actual survival skills to make makeshift weaponry. The fact that Arnold used his understanding of guns in his subsequent action movies is quite amazing. He distinguished himself from other action performers who depended more on special effects by using the realistic handling techniques he learned on Predator in all of his firearm scenes. The training for explosives was especially rigorous. Arnold and the actors gained knowledge of the timing, location, and safety procedures of actual military demolitions. The moments in which Dutch employs guerrilla warfare techniques against the Predator were influenced by this expertise. According to Arnold, the performer's rapid adaptation to real-world weapon handling impressed the military advisors. They were accustomed to remembering lines and hitting marks because of their Hollywood training. However, many of them had never mastered real military techniques before. Additionally, survival training was incorporated into the weapons workshop, which affected the characters' actions when they were not using their gear. Arnold gained knowledge of actual jungle survival skills, which influenced Dutch's ingenuity throughout the film. The fact that Arnold is still able to use some of these weapons skills decades later is truly amazing. He was able to show that he hasn't forgotten the genuine military bearing that made Dutch such a compelling character when he recently returned to the Predator franchise. Arnold is contributing to the development of the franchise's future. It's true that Arnold's return to the Predator series is an homage to nostalgia. It's setting the stage for a completely other era. Arnold disclosed that Dutch's story may finally be explored, examining his activities in the 40 years since his jungle confrontation, following a meeting with director Dan Trachtenberg. Has he been hunting the Predators in secret, or has he been getting ready for their return? His comeback allows him to impart his hard-won wisdom as a seasoned professional while also tying the 1987 masterpiece to contemporary movies like Prey and Badlands. Arnold is also more than a cameo at 78. He is actively influencing the franchise's future by offering storyline advice, upholding its basic ideas, and even making vague allusions to live-action adaptations. It all comes down to recreating Predator's future and paying tribute to a classic. Arnold's Predator revelations demonstrate that the movie was far more than a typical action movie from the 1980s. The film was a combination of suffering, ingenuity, and cooperation that created an enduring classic, from the scorpion scene's subtle meaning to the vicious stunts that put actual human limits to the test. Arnold's ongoing involvement in the series at the age of 78 demonstrates his strong bond with the narrative, respecting its heritage while assisting in its direction. Which of the Arnold revelations in this video is your favorite? Tell us which secret surprised you the most in the comments section below.